Welcome to the Secrets of College Planning. I'm your host, Anthony Uva, and today we're going to get some insight into internship programs. My guest today is Lamarr Pottinger, and he is the NCAA Associate Director for Leadership Development. And welcome to the show.
Thanks, Anthony. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so Lamarr, I usually start my guests where you went to college. So where'd you go to school?
I went to undergrad at East Illinois University. It's a small FCS school, Division I in Charleston, Illinois. And then I went to Western Illinois across the state per se, and went there for my graduate degree in sports management.
Oh, fantastic. So let's go back in time before we get started on what you do today.
Yeah.
In high school, when did you start thinking about going to college? Was it freshman year of high school, senior year? When did it all start for you?
Yeah, really, it started for me probably around my sophomore year in high school. I had some delays, if you will, with sports and academics my freshman year, and ended up transferring to another school for high school. And then at my sophomore year is when I took my academics and sports really seriously, because I ended up being really good in track and field and football. So there was conversations about, maybe you should try to, play sports in college while trying to get a degree. So it was at that point that I really started to think about, okay, what does this next 3 years look like for me? And where do I want to go to get a college degree? And what does that look like? What sport do I want to be in? And at that point, all I knew is that I wanted to be a PE teacher, and it evolved from there as far as my career. But that was the starting point for me in high school.
So was that the only school that was looking at you, or did you have many different options, or what?
Yeah, so East Illinois is a Division I institution. During my college career, I was in a small town, Antioch, Illinois, and really small high school, 1,000 students in the entire student body. And at that time, the way my times were in track and just my stats for football, I was really looking towards going Division III. I wanted to be a dual sport athlete within a Division III institution. So there were some Wisconsin schools looking at me, some Illinois schools, but all Division III institutions looking at me. And I liked what Division III had to offer as far as academics and athletics, and then also being able to play two of my favorite sports, at least that I was good at. I have other favorite sports, but not as talented, within football and track and field. And then as I started to gain some traction in state with track and field and end up being top 10 in the state by my senior year, I started to get more interest from some small Division I institutions to come run track there. Ironically, the track meet for state was at East Illinois University, and that's where I got my kind of tryout, if you will, to be able to showcase my skill set in front of the coaches there while being at the state track meet. And I actually didn't do well during that track meet, but was able to impress the coaches enough through film and conversations prior to that to be able to be offered a partial scholarship to East Illinois in the
So now you go to school there. Tell me a little bit about the school and how you liked it. Just tell me a little bit about college.
Yeah, I say that my 5 years, because I redshirted as a freshman, was the best experience today of my life, being in college at East Illinois University. The campus, again, is really small, but has a really homey feel to it. You can get from one end of the town to another and probably only hit about 3 stoplights. So that type of small town, but just the community that I was able to build there, not just within our athletics community from the athletic director to our academic counselors, to our compliance, to our coaches, but also to our dean of students, our president, our resident life advisors and assistants. They were really welcoming, and the campus is probably, one of the most beautiful campuses, I would say. When you go on campus, you get there, lots of green trees. Of course, when it gets to fall in Illinois area, it starts to become orange and red and yellow, and just those type of feeling and nostalgia brings me back now. But the education there was really prioritized on their teaching education, elementary education, and then their sports management kinesiology program, which is the program that I was in. So really had a good opportunity to gain not only the knowledge from all of the professors in the books, but Eastern Illinois pride themselves in the experiential learning and practicum experience. So I had a lot of time within athletics as an undergrad student, starting all the way my sophomore year of volunteering and getting micro internships within the athletics department, within sports broadcasting, you name it. Just because it was such a small school, they had opportunities for you to get involved. Yeah.
So now you graduate from college. How does one go from graduating from college and end up at the NCAA as the associate director for the leadership development?
Yeah, having a dream and being consistent. So it was my junior year in college at Eastern Illinois University. I was offered the opportunity to go to some leadership conference. And at that time, I was a leadership nerd of just, wanting to be a captain, wanted to be a leader. So I heard leadership conference. I heard it was in Chicago. I heard that, me and my teammate would get to go and be there for 4 days and have fun with other student athletes. So I said, sign me up. Why not? And that was in 2011. 4 days later, after that experience, I knew right then and there I wanted to be not only in college athletics within administration, but I also knew that I wanted to work for the NCAA. And it was because of the experience that I had from learning more about leadership, learning more about the governance structure and the student athlete experience, the student athlete voice, and all of the different sessions and activities that we had during what is now called the Student Athlete Leadership Forum, that ironically we oversee within leadership development, was just a transformational experience for me. And I met a mentor there that is still my mentor to this day, that worked at the NCAA, and she actually worked in leadership development. And I told her, I want to be you one day. And that's where it started. And I know we're going to get to the internship program, but that was where I got my first interest in applying for the postgraduate internship program at the NCAA coming out of undergrad. Ironically, what I always tell people now is that I applied for the internship twice, got an interview twice, and did not get it. But now I oversee the program. So just a full story there, full circle moment. But, after that experience, and not getting the internship, a lot of people within my network and mentorship, and my mentor at the NCAA just told me to continue to build my resume, continue to be intentional with the work that I was doing on campus, and they'll see me again in the future. So having the opportunity to do academic advising and life skills at that time at Western Illinois University as a graduate assistant, then transitioning to Jacksonville, Florida, and being able to be an assistant director of student athlete services, doing similar work, but also, again, focusing on career readiness, leadership development, the student athlete experience on that campus, and it being, again, another small campus similar to Western and Eastern, was kind of a good opportunity for me to get my hands in everything and continue to build my resume and continue to keep in touch with NCAA staff members like my boss right now, Dee Merritt. And like I said, being consistent with doing the work that we do now, but on a smaller level on campus, and then continue to have that dream in the back of my head that one day I want to be able to work in leadership development and in the NCAA. And there was two opportunities that came up during the last, I should say, almost 12 years now. One didn't pan out the way I wanted it to go. I actually got to go from ODU to Texas Tech and had the opportunity to be an assistant AD there. And then about 13 months later, I got a call that an associate director position for leadership development was going to open up, and what would convince me to leave. And I said, this call.
That's great.
And that was in 2019. And now I've been here now for almost 3 years with NCAA leadership development. And, a lot of people talk about their dream job, and this is it for me.
Great. Well, Lamarr, so you handle the postgraduate internship program at the NCAA, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So how long has it been in existence, and what do the interns actually learn in the program?
Yeah, so the NCAA postgraduate internship program has a rich history. It's been around almost a little over 30 years now, starting in 1989, 1990, when the national office headquarters was actually in Kansas City. And it started off as an internship opportunity through a few of our governance committees to give ethnic minorities and women opportunities to gain experience within college athletics at the highest level, being at the national office and the NCAA. And over 30 years now, we've had close to 500 interns through this program, and it continues to grow. That started off with 8, and now going into this next year, we'll be at 32 interns across 12 departments, which is pretty neat to see the evolution of the program, and I can only see it getting larger as the years come. But what we pride ourselves in with our internship, as far as what our interns are learning, they're getting a full-time experience, hands-on, of college athletics, athletic administration, and really learning the different components of all of the NCAA membership, from Division I, Division II, and Division III. And that will look different for each intern, obviously, with them being in maybe communications versus championships versus leadership development versus inclusion. But from a holistic knowledge standpoint of them learning, they are learning how to be the best college athletic administrator in the nation. And that comes from the on-job experience that they get, and then also from a lot of the professional development that we do with them within our area of emotional intelligence, effective communication, a lot of those more soft skills that we have to teach them during their tenure of the 1-year internship program.
So now the name of the program is Postgraduate. So what's the difference of, does someone actually have to graduate college? It has to be a postgraduate student compared to a student that's still in college?
Yes, so you have to have graduated with at least your bachelor's degree from a 4-year institution and a member of the NCAA. So very intentional with that, of kind of, if you will, giving back to our membership to then bring in their students and even student athletes to come work for the national office. And like I mentioned before, Anthony, we really pride ourselves in this being a full-time job experience. So having someone with that level of maturity and having that degree and possibly a little bit experience from being an undergrad is very important for that postgraduate piece, because when they get into the national office after their onboarding season, it's go time, and they're operating as one of our colleagues and teammates, and not necessarily as just a traditional historical intern.
So what's the makeup of the interns that you get? Do they need certain characteristics?
Yeah, so I would say, there is a number of different ways to describe that question. One, I would say, is that usually we have anywhere between over 50% of our interns are former student athletes. And that is somewhat by design, somewhat, just organically, but we always promote that this internship is for everyone within our membership, whether you're a student athlete or traditional student. But it's always great to see student athletes come into our national office and then become future leaders of college athletics. So I would say, each cohort probably has a little over 50% former student athletes. And then I would say just from undergrad to a graduate level degree to a JD to a PhD, you're looking at around usually around 30 or 40% of the group are coming straight out of undergrad and have a bachelor's degree. And then the rest of the makeup of the group has probably their master's. A few of our regulatory folks within enforcement or academic and membership affairs may have their JD. We see majority of our group within the age range of anywhere from 22 to 35. And then we even have some that are maybe transitioning a career, have a family and a spouse trying to get into not just college athletics, but work for the NCAA as well. So
what's the process then for the intern through the interview process, the application process? Do you find them jobs? How does it all work? What's the process that they take?
Yeah, so from application to conclusion of the internship, we have a few different steps. So right now, our application is open. It opened up last week, and then now it will close September 6th. So we'll be open here now for about 6 weeks from August 1 to September 6th. And that's the application process. And what happens is that each applicant has the opportunity to pick 3 different choices within the internship. So out of the 32 options, they can pick their top 3 choices. And really that helps us out to be able to have multiple options on our side as hiring managers, but then also maybe there's an applicant that thinks they want to be in, academic and membership affairs, but their skill set and their value might be better for the eligibility center, right? So that's the first part of it. And then the next part is going through our phone screens, or now 2022, a Teams or Zoom interview with the first round of applicants. And there's a lot of different equations that hiring managers do to get to their top batch to have that first screen. And then what we do there is that each department will get to pick 2 candidates per position to bring to Indianapolis for in-person interviews. So for leadership development, we have 2 intern spots, which means we will bring 4 individuals to Indianapolis sometime in November to interview for those spots. The unique thing about our internship process is that we select our interns to get the job in December, but they don't start until that next June. So we try to eliminate the stress, the rush, the anxiety of finding an individual. And then even for the folks applying, how great is it to know that, like, hey, I got a job, I got 6 months to just worry about school, worry about my current job, worry about getting ready to be in Indianapolis, versus, a traditional hire. You probably got anywhere from 2 to 5 weeks to figure out where you're gonna live, transition, et cetera. So that, again, is by design, knowing that our demographic of applicants and hired employees are maybe a little bit younger, and this is their first full-time experience.
So now you said the deadline is September 6th.
Yeah.
If someone misses that deadline, what's 2023, 2024 deadlines? Do you happen to know those? Where do they find you for that?
Yeah, so great question. Without looking at the calendar, we always do the beginning of August and right after Labor Day. So whatever that first Monday is in August each year, and then the Tuesday right after Labor Day is where they can apply each year. So for 2023 to 24, they can look to be, the application can start in August.
And go all the way until September and then do it all over again. And where do they find you? They just find you at the NCAA.org website?
Yes, sir.
And now the program for the leadership program and internship, talk about the mission and the benefits of the NCAA and its members.
Say that again, Anthony.
I said with the internship program, talk about the benefits and the benefits of the NCAA members.
Yeah. So for the internship program, the benefits I would say on paper would be that this is a full year experience with the national office, but also that they're treated as full time. So they get benefits, they get PTO, they get the same work from home flexibility as full-time staff members. And then they get a salary as well, which the salary is $30,000 currently. They also get a all expense paid house hunting trip that we execute in April. So we fly out all of the 32 interns to Indianapolis for a weekend, and they get to work with our relocation services that we have to go out and find their housing, whether it's apartment, condo, a house, if they all want to live together. And we pay for those services as well. They select their housing, and get to look at Indy from 2 to 3 months out from them coming in June. And that really helps them kind of get their feet going for focusing on the job within June versus having to worry about housing and those things there. So that's a big benefit that we provide to them. We also provide a stipend every year for a professional development trip where they get to pick anywhere in the United States to go for about 3 or 4 days to shadow any athletic or professional sports administrator, visit facility tours, conduct or work within any conference or seminars, anything that's going to help their professional development and their personal and professional interest of what they want to do post internship. They're at liberty to do so within that professional development trip. And we've had interns go all the way from LA, Dallas, Houston, Florida, New Mexico, you name it. They've been there in those states or cities and have ventured around probably different institutions, conferences, professional sport organizations, corporate organizations that align with sports. And that's a really big benefit as well. And then organically, they get to engage with some of the best leaders in the nation. The amount of athletic directors, conference commissioners, and high-level stakeholders that come in our building now, especially with COVID transitioning out, is invaluable. You could go downstairs one day and see the commissioner of the SEC or the commissioner of the Big Ten, right? Or the athletic director at the Ohio State University, and be able to shake hands and introduce yourselves, right? And that FaceTime is invaluable because of the richness and the tenure of this internship program. When you say you're an NCAA postgraduate internship participant or intern, that holds then our conference commissioners, there are ADs that have been through our program and know how much this program has done for them in the early part of their careers.
Now, you said that the internship program is for 1 full year. What happens after that year? Do they have to find a job somewhere, or they continue at the NCAA?
Yeah, so they have to find a job somewhere within the membership or the NCAA. Fortunately, the last 3 years, we've had a little over 35% of our interns stay at the NCAA because of different opportunities within the building. And I know almost half of our interns come into the internship wanting to stay at the NCAA, which is why they get into the internship program anyway. So it's been really cool to see the transition of more interns staying with the national office after their year is up. But we help them as far as getting jobs or getting connections to different individuals. I mean, it's really easy to get them jobs because most times people are reaching out and asking for the list of interns. Hey, I'm looking for an assistant director of marketing. Can you send me the list of champs and communication interns, right? Or I'm looking for an assistant director of events. Can you send me the list of interns that you have here? So most times, we're just giving them a list. Hey, here are some opportunities. Pick, which one you want to interview for and move forward. So it's a pretty neat setup that they have. That if they do a really good job throughout the year, they're able to get a job at the end, and they don't have to stay until May when the internship is up. We've had a lot of interns leave as early as August, right after they get hired, and as late as April. Wow. So it just depends on where their careers are, what type of opportunity that they want to engage with, and sometimes that dream job or opportunity comes up and you just can't turn it down, and we lose a good one within the first 5 months of the internship, which is a blessing and a curse. We want to hire great interns and develop them so that they can go off and have great jobs. Sometimes they develop faster than others.
Sure. Well, we're coming to the end of our show, and usually my last question is, what advice do you want to give to the parents and the students that are watching this? What advice do you want to give them?
I would say really make sure that you're, from a technical standpoint, make sure that your materials are really buttoned up. I mean, we get on an annual basis anywhere from 1,100 to 1,500 applications for these 32 spots a year. So the smallest detail will get noticed, and if it's not put together, hiring managers will move on to the next individual. I would also say do the research. We have a lot of information on our website. I know you'll provide that to them afterwards, of just doing the research, learning more about the NCAA, learning more about the national office that we have here in Indianapolis, learning more about the 32 different positions that we have. And then the last piece of advice I would say is, if you're not a student athlete or a parent of a student athlete, get involved some way, somehow within athletics, whether you're at your undergrad institution or, your current organization. Get involved in some level of sport or athletics and volunteer for an event or conference or an initiative so that you can have that experience, but also learn more about what college athletics and the sport industry is about, because college athletics isn't for everyone, and you don't want to learn that while you get to the national office and it's like, oh, I thought this was going to be one way but not the other. So really doing the research and getting that experience beforehand will be a great opportunity.
Well, thank you very much for coming on the show, Lamarr. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Anthony.
Yep. So you've been watching The Secrets of College Planning. I'm your host, Anthony Uva. Until next time.